right, we're talking Miami Hurricanes football with Cam Underwood from State of the U. Please join him there for the very best in Miami football coverage with the Canes taking on Virginia Tech this week. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel for college football coverage coast to coast, conversations with the likes of Cam and other bloggers and broadcasters, the audio version in its complete form on Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes. So, Cam, give us your rundown of the North Carolina performance in terms of what matters from that performance. So, noon Eastern time, Chapel Hill, maybe a little bit of a sleepy start for the Canes. Maybe a lot of that performance was lost in some of the bigger games preceding, followed by this big game coming up and all of that. But what do you think really sticks from that performance that makes sense, both good and bad, that projects forward to Virginia Tech this week?
Good were chunk plays on offense, and that's really what saved Miami. When the Canes had a shot to hit a home run ball, they did it. That touchdown to Jeff Thomas when he undressed the cornerback on the first play of the third quarter. Yeah, right when we came out of halftime, double move, put the hand up like Randy Moss. He's wide open. Boom, hit that one, hit a couple other ones. The Chris Herndon seam route where he spun away from three guys and he goes 51 yards for a score. All the chunk plays were great. I think that was awesome. When you had success, based on success rates, getting your requisite number of yards. So given the situation, it was very few times that happened. But when it did, Miami was really, really efficient. It wasn't like average efficiency. It was like outstanding efficiency. Like, 50 yards, 70 yards, 20 yards when you needed 8. When you hit plays, you hit plays. So that was a good thing. The bad side of that is it was very few plays, and a lot of the other plays were garbage. Miami's run game was pathetic, honestly. Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator and running backs coach, said it was a terrible performance on offense. It was, just terrible to see, and I agree with that. So kind of balance those things out. On the positive side for defense, got 5 turnovers. That's awesome. I love stuff like that. Give me the ball back. On the negative side, we needed all of those turnovers and the associated point luck, because every turnover is like 4.5 points, like negated from the potential score from the other team if you're looking at advanced statistics. So we won by, 5, and got 13 points, 14 points of turnover luck. Without those turnovers, that's probably a loss. So that's a negative there. And then just not being it was just an uneven performance. I mean, you just had to have players making spectacular plays because the normal plays weren't being made. R.J. McIntosh is a beast. He's pretty much unblockable. He was ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week. He had 9 tackles in the first half, ended with like 11, a tackle and a half for a loss, sack and a half, 2 pass breakups, which gives him 7 pass breakups in the last 2 weeks because he's getting his hands on all kinds of passes because the interior linemen can't block him for the last 2 teams, from Syracuse and North Carolina. But without him, man, some of those other sacks that people got or were able to run into, they happen because R.J. McIntosh is getting up the middle of the field. What happens if he doesn't have a superstar game? He just has a good game or an average game. Then maybe Joe Jackson's not able to get to that other sack, and maybe Michael Pinckney and maybe Shaq Quarterman, they're maybe a step slower, and that quarterback has an extra split second, and, things go a different way. So it was just really, it left a lot to be desired on pretty much all fronts. There were a couple good kick returns by Jeff Thomas. There were a couple bad ones. There was one he got tackled on like the 9 or 11 yard line. There was 1 or 2 good punts from Zach Fiegels, but there were like 4 or 5 bad punts. So even in all 3 areas, offense, defense, and special teams, no matter what I say as a positive, there's a contrary negative, which was almost enough to get us to lose that game, except for the highs on offense were so high that it was unrecoverable for North Carolina. And with the highs on offense and defense, you get those takeaways, so we get the ball back. You blow a coverage against Chris Herndon and against Jeff Thomas, strike with the band and play the fight song. And I love those things. And Michael Badgley is automatic at the kicker. We were talking about special teams on Twitter today. People were, bringing up different things. I said, I love the fact that he's so automatic, Michael Badgley, as our kicker, that we don't even mention him anymore as a thing. It's just, he's going to make field goals. Like, missed from like 53 or something because it fell short. For that, anything inside 45, automatic. So I love that. But I mean, yeah, there were some positives, but the overwhelming majority were negatives. Yeah, just a lot to be desired. Not really executing in the run game. Had like 2.3 yards per carry. You know, the completion percentage wasn't great either. Had some more drop balls by Amon Richards and other guys too. Just it almost, I don't know, like if you make copy, and if you saw the movie Insomnia with Al Pacino, he's in Alaska and he's a cop and he can't sleep because it's during the 6 months of sun. And I've had insomnia before, and it's crazy because life becomes a copy of a copy of a copy, and it just gets more blurry, you know? And I think that's how our performance was. There was no like clear lines of this was really good and this was really bad, but there was just a lot of meh, and the meh in the middle started trending towards bad. So we just really need to clean up that performance.